Building on any property that has water on it or is near water is not for the faint of heart. Today I'm going to talk about the important things you need to know when considering a build near water, and we're starting now. Hi, I'm Lisa Salt with RE/MAX Vernon Fowler, and in our first video in this series, we talked about lakefront property being subject to many regulations. Once you understand the terms like riparian, accretion, and foreshore, then it's time to talk about the 7 steps involved in building new construction or reconstruction on the waterfront. Step number 1, the surveyor. This step involves a professional BC land surveyor visiting the property and conducting a survey to establish the current property lines. The surveyor will determine whether the property is actually larger or smaller than the current plot plan states. Because the landowner generally owns up to the high water mark, and because as we talked about, the high water mark changes over time due to accretion or erosion, it's important to determine the actual high water mark, and the only way to do that is with a professional survey. The second part of this survey is to determine the 30-meter riparian protection area setback from the high water mark. Technically, according to the riparian regulations, no new buildings are permitted within that 30 meters from the high water mark, although in practice it seems to be that 15-meter line that's the magic number, depending on how big the property is. There are many properties on the lake that would be rendered unbuildable as the whole property isn't even 30 meters deep, and we'll go into this in more detail shortly. Step number 2, the biologist. The surveyor will then supply the QEP, the qualified environmental professional, or the biologist, with the survey outlining where the property lines are. And the QEP will also arrange a visit to the property to determine if there are any concerns about building on the property. The biologist will then determine step 3, which is the RaprSpia. The RaprSpia. RaprSpia stands for Riparian Area Protection Regulation, Streamside Protection, and Enhancement Area. That's a mouthful. So this magical line, it determines where you can build. If there's already a structure on the property, you may be able to build on the same foundation as is currently there. However, you can't build beyond it, or at least closer to the water. If there's no structure already on the property, then it becomes much more restrictive. That's why it's such a big bonus on a smaller piece of property, especially on the lake, to buy a property with an existing structure and build on the existing foundation. And why raw land on the lake that has never been built on is a challenge. Sometimes your only option for raw land is to build up, except technically you're not allowed to increase the 3-dimensional space. So meaning a single-story house should be replaced with a single-story house. However, that doesn't always happen. The best thing, you just have to hire a QEP, the qualified environmental professional. They'll analyze the background information, they'll analyze the site conditions and various other information to determine this magical SPEA line. Step number 4 is the house plan. Based on where the SPEA line falls, your designer or architect can now appropriately design your home to fit into the space allotted and calculated by the surveyor and the QEP. Designing any house plan is an agonizing process, and on the lake is certainly no easier. So good luck with that. Step number 5 is hire a builder. As I'm sure you can see already, this is a very involved process, and it's one that pays to have experience on your side. And a local builder with experience in the lakefront building process is so valuable to help guide you through the rest of the planning and building process to ensure everything goes off with as few hitches as possible. Step number 6, the development permit. Once your plan is in place, or at least your exterior footprint is in place, it's time to go for the development permit. This is different than a building permit. Due to the riparian area restrictions, a development permit is required from the city prior to even applying for your building permit. Sometimes your permit may have to go before council for various reasons, and this process can take 3 months or more depending on many things. Just know that it takes time and patience is a virtue. And after long last, you're at the final step, the building permit. After you finally receive your development permit, now it's time to go for what someone building on a regular subdivision building lot in town did 5 steps ago, and go for your building permit. Once the building permit is received, it's time to move forward with your lakefront build. As I said at the beginning, this process is not for the faint of heart or anyone in a huge hurry to build. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes some extra dollars. However, at the end of the day, you will end up with this, or this, or this, and it will all be worth it. I'm sure you can see why it's so important to call a builder or a realtor who specializes in lakefront property when buying, selling, or building lakefront. Stay tuned for our next video, which is going to talk about all the things you need to know about buying a lakefront property with or without a dock on the foreshore.